First, breaking this noon, a powerful earthquake rocked Southeast Asia this morning, and now the frantic search is on for survivors. The 7.7 magnitude quake leveled this half-built skyscraper in Bangkok, Thailand, trapping some workers, sending others running. It is believed dozens are still somewhere under that rubble. The quake was quickly followed by a 6.4 aftershock. The head of Myanmar's military government says 144 people confirmed dead, more than 730 injured. The number of dead and injured, however, expected to rise significantly.
Okay, shalom, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah, Koholoimla Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Recha HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan the Waf. It's coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is at work, man. These earthquakes. And it also knocked down a bunch of those idolatrous shrines and shit, too. I think that was this particular video right here. Let's play this one.
Are you sure your tax expert is right for you?
Yeah, it's a lot. You know they're going to throw in the commercial, man. Esau going to try and sell you something, man.
At least 150 people have died after an earthquake in Southeast Asia. Reports say the 7.7 magnitude quake struck Myanmar. It was followed by an aftershock that registered 6.4. Tremors were felt as far away as Bangkok, Thailand, where 8 people are reported dead after the collapse of a high-rise building under construction. One woman described what she felt. I was sleeping on my bed, and at first I thought my head was spinning. So I moved to see what was happening, and things started swaying even more. So I quickly ran to my kids, and we quickly took cover under the table. Hundreds were injured across the region, and officials say the death toll is expected to rise. Myanmar is currently embroiled in a civil war, and the military-run government has declared a state of emergency.
Okay, yeah, man. Moab is my wash pot. Well, let's grab a couple of scripts. I want to get this article, too, because I've been seeing a few stories on this. I had a couple of them backed up, but it's multiple articles on stuff like this in different regions, too, where it says European Union urges nearly 450 million people to prepare 72-hour survival kits in amid tense political climate. So you see the military, and they talking about, let's read into a little bit of it. Matter of fact, let's read into a little bit of this, and we'll just grab the scriptures. Europeans have been warned to prepare for increasingly complex crises and challenges that cannot be ignored. Now, the only place that's not preparing like this is the U.S. All these other countries, man, they got bomb shelters. They have, sirens, alarms in case of an attack. And America's just going to be caught off guard, man. They're not telling the people nothing. It's just, these people are just doofy as hell here. Okay, it says the EU has urged nearly 450 million people to gear up with survival kits that will last them over 72 hours. Households across the continent have been asked to keep food, medication, water, cash, torches, and other essentials handy in case of emergency situation. Well, if there's an emergency situation within 72 hours, they're telling you to be prepared for 72 hours at least. That's going to be complete chaos. Whatever people have, they should be telling them you need to have some guns, some bullets, some knives, some bats, something to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because people going to be all out going buck ass wild. You know what I'm saying? If it's like this, It says it's all part of European Union's preparedness strategy amid growing tensions over politics across the globe. So they actually have a little video on it. Let's play this. Let's come back to this little video. So let me grab this real quick. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. Because the Lord, he said to measure the times diligently. Right? And to watch and pray. And one of the things that the Lord spoke of before his coming, this is Matthew 24 and 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And Yahushua, verse 4, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. And we say the true name of the Son and the Father and the Son. The Father's name is Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one. And the true name of his Son is Yahushua, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo-Hebrew. We don't use Jesus because the letter J didn't exist when the Lord walked the earth. We use his Paleo-Hebrew name, and you can look that up. But verse 5, it says, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, or the anointed, they say Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars, rumors of wars, because you got this, you got shit going on over there with Israel. Israel just bombed Beirut. They still going back and forth over that way with that. You still got Russia, Ukraine. You still got, it's just shit going on everywhere as far as the wars. But it says, See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we're not to panic or be troubled by these things. Actually, we're to applaud it and to pray for more of it to happen. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes, see that, in diverse places. Earthquakes, that's one of the things the Lord spoke of, and famines is happening, and pestilence is happening. We can clearly see nation is against nation, kingdom is against kingdom. Hell, you damn near got a civil war ready to start right here in America. Verse 8, it says, All these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So these are just a few things that's going on. Let me go to the Apocrypha real quick. Because the Lord said to measure the times diligently. That means to watch and pray, and to do it diligently, not just bullshitting around. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So the Lord is visiting this world, man. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, see, there you go, and uproars of the people in the world, when you're seeing all this violence, you're seeing all these uprisings against the governments and stuff like that throughout the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So he told us to watch. And as we see these signs, he's giving us clues and indicators as to how close his coming is. Then, of course, you can go into 2 Timothy chapter 3, starting from verse 1, going on down to like verse 5, where it talks about in the last days there shall be perilous times. Men shall be lovers of their own selves. It goes on to say, people will be unholy, unthankful, disobedient to parents, fierce, without natural affection, without self-control. It's a whole list of things. And those things are happening regularly, just on a regular basis. And then also in Matthew 24 as well, verse 12, same chapter, the Lord also said, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So see, when you see articles like this right here, and they're telling people to stock up for 72 hours, well, that's not going to help, defenseless people, so to speak, because it's going to be the strong is going to be the ones that's going to overall survive. They're going to group up, and they're going to be coming to these houses, and they're going to be terrorizing the people and taking their shit. And that goes off into 2nd Ezra chapter 15. That's back in the Apocrypha, same book, but a couple of chapters over right here. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, let me start at verse 14. It says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. See that? For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Which means that they're not going to be listening to no government officials or no police officers or no, the mayor, the senator, whatever the fuck it is. They're not going to care, because it's going to be all survival mode for them. And the police officers, they're not going to be answering no 911 calls in that day and time. I'm trying to think, it was a movie I was watching. I can't even think what the name of it was. It was not too long ago too, where, damn, I can't think of the name of that movie. I can't even think, but I remember it was a scene in the movie where Oh, I was watching World War Z. That's what that was. An older movie with Brad Pitt in it. And there was a scene where he was with his family and everything was going crazy and shit, chaos. He ran into the supermarket. The little girl needed some medicine because she had asthma or something real bad. But he separated from the wife. He told her, go grab some food, whatever, some things that we can get on the road with, and I'll go and get some medicine. So he went to the back of the pharmacy. They was already ramshacking the supermarket, and there was a bunch of damn dope heads in the pharmacy. And then one guy seen him with the daughter and was like, "Man, what you looking for?" He was so into drugs that he knew exactly what the guy was looking for, like he was the damn pharmacist. And then all of a sudden, chaos and shit ended up breaking out in the supermarket. But there was a scene with a police officer where, they was thinking that the police officer was there to help. He passed all by all that shit and started grabbing up him some shit for his family, with his uniform on, in his squad car, with his gun and everything on him. So this is what you're going to be seeing coming in the future, man. These police officers are not going to be no help to you. Hell, if they actually stop and ask you if you need some help, you might want to run. Because they might throw you in the back of the fucking squad car to kidnap you. Have your ass locked down somewhere. And pleasuring themselves with you. Not straight up, man. Shit about to get crazy out here. Verse 16 again, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings, nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able." And that can land in multiple ways right there. Because Esau, he could cause martial law, shut down sections of the city. You might live on the east side, and your mom or your parents, your brothers, sisters, whoever, they might live on the west side or some shit like that. And you're not going to be able to get past a border zone that they may set up. Or it may be so goddamn dangerous, you may not even be able to get out of your house, to even try and get nowhere. Barricading yourself in. It says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." Gonna be some serious times, man. You got a lot of single women out here with children. So if the men are going to be afraid, damn well the women and children going to be terrified. Verse 19, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation." See? So when you see stories like this, these houses are going to be ransacked, man. Especially people that know that you're by yourself. Don't think that people don't, people know their neighborhoods. You can pretty much, I only see this person go, I don't know him by name, but I only see that person never going in and coming out. They know if there's a little son or daughter. Yeah, I see them all the time. Every now and then I'll see somebody pull up in a certain type of truck or Jeep or whatever. So it's not like people don't know around them like who's who. Your neighbors across the street from you. Your neighbors next door to you. The elderly couple or whatever. The people that's most vulnerable gonna get the business. But let's see if we can play a little bit of this right here.
Good to see you, Yuka.
Hi, Jenny.
The European Union wants people to keep 3-day survival kits at home. What's that about?
Yeah, Jenny, prepare for war and disaster. That's the message, although Brussels may not want to be seen as alarmist. The EU's Crisis Management Commissioner, Labib, posted this video on social media with advice on what people should carry around, including cash, a radio, and a Swiss Army knife. This as the blog urged citizens across the continent to stockpile food, water, essentials to last at least 72 hours in case of a crisis. At a press conference, Labib said European security is threatened not just by war, but cyber attacks, climate change, and disease. She also called for building up the EU's strategic reserves of critical resources.
Hey, look, a bunch of damn women here. A bunch of women, making up plans and coming up with shit for you to do when they should just be at home handling the children and letting men handle situations like this. Let me get that scripture real quick. You women, man, y'all got to get in order, man. There's an order that the Lord has set up for you to be in. And if you outside of it, then, hey, shit, the terror and chaos going to come your damn way. 1 Timothy 2:11, "Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection, while I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. So there's an order to things, man. Women shouldn't be like, come on, why are you up here talking strategically? You're out of order. You're out of place. You know, you're out of place, man. Well, I'll play a little bit more.
So let's take a listen.
This strategic reserve helped the EU respond to every type of emergency with firefighting planes, stockpiles of vital medical, energy and transport equipment, and specialized assets against chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear threats.
So across the channel, the UK is also boosting defense spending.
So see, she ain't gonna be nowhere to be found when shit do hit the fans like how she's talking about. Because when shit gets scary, her ass is gonna be somewhere tucked in a corner. She's not gonna be out making no announcements when shit really gets down, man.
Well, at her spring statement giving an update on the budget, Finance Minister Rachel Reeves confirmed an extra £2.2 billion would be spent on the country's defence over the next year. But the government also halved its growth forecast for 2020.
Poverty.
So that's enough of that, man. You know, chicks out here talking about fucking billions of dollars in fucking missiles and tanks, and you know, it's just, and reason being is because Esau is just, he won't stop, man. This man can never have enough, and just know that, you know, I mean, it's a good thing, though, because it's going to lead up to the third woe. Revelation 11 and 14. You know, people, they be praying that, you know, stuff like this don't happen, but not us Israelites, man. You know, not the affiliates, you know, or not GMS, Great Millstone, or the affiliates. We pray for these things to happen and speed up. Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And Israel, the shit that they doing right now, because they just bombed Beirut, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. French President Emmanuel Macron called Beirut strike unjust. Yep. I've been seeing that. Matter of fact, we can probably get a little bit of it on the tube. Give me a sec here. So you could pretty much see some of the destruction on that Beirut strike. But now I think it was yesterday also, I think Yemen shot 2 missiles over into Israel, but supposedly they were intercepted or whatever, you know what I'm saying, struck down. But I mean, this thing is escalating, man. It says Lebanese army at war with Israel after Hezbollah. So you know, this thing is just ticking up, man. You know what I'm saying? Trump, he coming in all off in there with that peace shit. You know, and there's not gonna be no peace, man. You know, that's just a front that guy talking about. Because Israel gonna draw them into this shit. You know what I'm saying? Let me see.
I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades.
Commercials, bro. Shut your doofy ass up. It's lucky. Okay, you see what it is, and I just seen something else too that just popped up in my feed. Let me see if I can grab it. Okay, this just popped up in my feed from Reuters. Military, Russia's Putin launches nuclear-powered submarine. See, all this stuff is happening within hours, man, within minutes of, you know, just news after news after news. So we have to, you know what, what time period we're in. Okay, so it says President Vladimir Putin on Thursday launched a nuclear-powered submarine equipped with the hypersonic Zircon missiles capable of traveling at several times the speed of sound. And this is how you know this is Esau too, man. Esau was gifted with that sword, man. You know, that's the reason why they're the only ones on the planet that really yield that nuclear might, like how they do these white people in America. these so-called white people, even in France, you know what I'm saying? Just in general, they're the ones that's yielding their power as far as these weapons, man, because the Lord blessed them with that sword, man, and they're gonna use it. But the thing of it is they're gonna be, demolished with the same sword that they were gifted with. Okay, but it says Russian news agencies referring to a video link from the Arctic port of Murmansk said Putin launched the vessel named Perm after the city in the Urals with the order, "I hereby authorize." Okay, let me see. The Russian agencies quoting documents associated with the launch said the Perm is the first nuclear-powered submarine to be equipped with Zircon missiles as a standard feature. Zircon missiles have a range of 560 miles, and their speed renders them very difficult to defend against. Because you remember back when they was talking shit about Russia. Russia said, well, hey, choose the spot that you want to defend, and we'll send the missiles towards it, and let's see if you can stop them. So, a little back and forth, a little prideful talks amongst these Americans and those Russians, because, again, these are the most gifted ones with that sword as far as the Edomites, other than Israel. Israel got their thing going on, too, but not like how America and Russia. It says the Perm is the sixth submarine in Russia's Yeltsin and Yeltsin M class is built by the Sevmash shipyard near Murmansk. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, you see what it is. That was pretty much about it anyway. Comments I didn't go into. These Americans, they're proud as hell. And for some of these people that be in the comments, man, they understand what's going on and they're actually scared. They're afraid because they've never heard of such talks like how you're hearing of these talks now. Now, I know it was an article, too, over in Slovakia where they're calling a lot of cattle and shit like that over there. They said it was like some foot and tongue disease or some shit of the cattle. But, throughout the world there, and there's a lot of people gathering them, on that end, too, as far as protesting. Because these people, they kind of figure something is going on, man, with the food. Because Esau, he's cutting out all the food, man. He's basically forcing the people or pushing the people towards only being dependent upon him when it comes to food. So, that brings along your Revelation 13:16, of course. I was already in 11. Let's see. Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So if they're in complete control of all the food, because they shutting these farmers down, man. There's a reason why fucking eggs are, through the roof like how they are. And they're basically saying, oh, well, it's, the bird FLU, you know what I'm talking about. And they had to call all these hundreds of millions of damn chickens. So they pretty much getting rid of all the damn, they got rid of all the damn chickens. Now they on their way to, they're talking about all these animals are pretty much overall catching this shit, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? The cows, the beef, they're just everything, man. So once they cut all off into all that stuff like that, they buying a lot of farms out. Bill Gates and them buying a lot of property. They're pretty much just making the people quit planting. Some places it's illegal to plant. Hell, even in your backyard. They don't want you to plant anymore. So you're totally dependent upon them. Right? Because remember when Trump was in office the first time, I remember him talking about cutting, pretty much overall cutting food stamps and shit like that back then. And he was talking about overall delivering your ass a box of food. And he was serious too. That milk that you don't have to put in the refrigerator in that little carton, that box with that off-brand ass peanut butter in it, with the off-brand spaghetti, they might give you a bag of beans or some shit with a, off-brand shit, you know what I'm saying? But overall, they're in control of the food, man, and water, and that's all they need to overall get the people to comply. So that's where it comes down to. Let's get chapter 14 here, where you're going to have to be dependent upon Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So I'm just reading out a few things that's happening in these end days, because he said to be occupied in prophecy, And this is one of the major prophecies that has to happen before World War III comes. So this is Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark on his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. See? So you want to pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, for mercy, endurance, faith in him. You know what I'm saying? Because people are going to be so damn hungry and so thirsty, they're just going to just give up and be like, hey, man, what you want me to do? Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And especially when you start to see your children, losing weight and crying and screaming. It's not going to take a lot of people that long. 2-3 days of not eating. Those are going to be the hardcore ones that kind of know what's going on. They're going, I ain't never taking no chip until 2, 3, 4, 5 days kick in where there's nothing to eat. When that stomach really get to growling, they might be able to, when they just have, it's just like, there's nothing, we can't find anything to eat. There's nothing out here no more. So we have to fall to them, So you're going to have a resistance, but you're going to have people that's just going to be right off. Fuck that. Hey, I got food stamps. They're not going to cut my food stamps. I got Section 8. They're not going to cut my Section 8. So, and that's where, you get that Isaiah where it talks about woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. And they don't look to the Lord. So this is where you want to call upon Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You don't want to be caught up with these people, man, and taking the shit that they trying to give you, because in turn, what you're saying is they're your God. Now that especially if they implant you, you're done. There's no coming back from that. You're not going to be able to repent from that. You're done if you take that. Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. They don't seek the Lord. They trust in their, in their governments. They trust in the, and it's a physical thing, because they can see that they have it. See, we're walking by faith. You're supposed to walk by faith and not by sight. So when you go to chapter 33 right here, in verse 6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So this wisdom, this knowledge, this understanding of this truth of these scriptures, this is for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because you are the real true Israelites. The Lord is doing all this stuff for you. All the turmoil that you see going on in the earth, all these wars, rumors of wars, this pestilence, families, all this turn up of crime, all this shit, that's all on behalf of the Israelites, the elect of Israel, because the Lord is about to dominate this place, man, when he comes. He's going to destroy this place, man, so you want to be on point. But it's a lot of stuff going on in the planet, man. It's a lot of different, just so many articles, bro. Because Esau, he has no problem poisoning everything. He has absolutely poisoned everything, man. He's going to come down with those laws saying, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's going to be all in the name of, he wants to give you that goddamn chip, man. Microchip. So, one more in Revelation 16:2. Going off into that microchip as well. And it first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. So, that it's going to be a noisome and grievous sore. Cancerous type, pus-filled blisters or whatever they may be. You know what I'm saying? We don't know the full extent of what that sore going to be, but, man, it's not going to be pretty. So, just a couple of things that's going on in the planet right now, man. The Lord said to be occupied in prophecy, man. So, yeah, things are getting hot, man. We definitely are getting there. You had, we just went into the Passover. We just had Feast of Unleavened Bread. You had the new moon. You had a blood moon, and a lot of stuff has been going on. Even weather, you know what I'm saying, as far as a lot of these fires and, shit just happening, man. Tornadoes, earthquakes, and, it's a lot of just violence. It's just the places, the world is at a point of breaking, man. And so, you're living in beautiful times, man. So, plus we're seeing the fall of our enemy, because Esau is being exposed. That's another thing that's got to happen in the end days as well. This is happening too. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. And that day that's being spoken of here is the coming of the Lord. That day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So the man of sin, the son of perdition, is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's got the people believing that there's some red guy on the ground named Satan, with a damn pitchfork, torturing everybody around this lake of fire. And that's not even in the Bible. That's not even biblical, man. That's something that's made up, that's in his movies and shit like that. But people don't really know or understand because they don't read the Bible. And if they do read it, they don't have no understanding. But the man of sin, that man of lawlessness, that son of perdition is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's the one that's causing all the fucking chaos in the earth. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he is God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. He's the one out here, man, that wants to be all seeing with a damn camera everywhere. Satellites all in the skies, looking down on everybody. Wanting to put a damn chip in your ass and know your every move. And not to mention, he has whitewashed all the images. He got you thinking that the Father in heaven looks like him. His son looks like him. The angels look like him. All the disciples look like them. That Christianity, man, that white supremacist, idolatrous Christianity with white Jesus, man, has dominated the world for a long time. But he's starting to be revealed now. People not really falling for it no more, And that's the reason why they want to, gonna want to shut down this internet, because also what's been going on really interesting too is they've been rounding up a lot of those visa holders or green card holders that were protesting against Israel, calling it anti-Semitism. They've been rolling up on their asses and throwing their asses in the back of vans, man, on some kidnap shit, detaining them and talking about deporting them. All in the name of you got to stop talking about Israel. So we know that soon too there's going to be a famine of the word. Amos 8 and 11. So know what you're a part of when you come into this truth, because hey, it's best to just go ahead and roll this thing on out to the end instead of dropping the plow. You definitely don't want to put down the plow once you get to work for the Lord, turning your back on the Lord and going back into the world type of deal. You might as well ride this thing out, because it's going to be far worse for you if you if you turn it on the Lord like that, So, but just know that there's going to be some persecution that's coming, because these people are coming down with real hardcore laws to protect that falsehood that's going on over there in Israel, man. Those people are imposters, and they're not the people, and the world is starting to see it, and they're losing their backing. But they have all the power in the world, to kind of keep it going. But it's all about the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. They're going to be shut down anyway. They just have a time period that they're trying to fight against. Like it's like like a baby trying to fight sleep. Now I'll take this bottle. You know what I'm saying? They whining. You're just gonna you continue on rocking that baby. You're gonna eventually go to sleep. But this is what they're trying to do. Matter of fact, I'm watching Euro News now. It's an anti-Semitism conference going on right now. Over in where is that at? I want to say it's Amsterdam. No, hold on. It may not be. No, not Amsterdam. Slovakia. Where are they at? It's an anti-Semitism conference that's going on in the backdrop right here. Matter of fact, I might be able to Slovakia, bear with me here. Let's see. Maybe to get a little bit of it. I can turn the camera on.
Jewish community in France is the largest in Europe. Last year, the country saw 1,570 anti-Semitic acts registered in France, which is 6% less than in 2023, but 3 times more than in 2022.
Et ça nous fait beaucoup de mal de voir des Français qui ont grandi en France, qui ont vécu pendant très longtemps en France, qui pour certains sont arrivés dans notre pays et qui sont aujourd'hui obligés de partir parce que l'insécurité est aujourd'hui devenue totalement hors de contrôle.
Bah écoutez, je crois que c'est surtout un alignement naturel, comme je vous l'ai dit. Ça...
Anyway. And I think it's in France, but these people, man, they're everywhere with that anti-Semitism bullshit, and they're they running all the governments of the world overall, but mainly the U.S. That's with the military might. So now that we're starting to see that the 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, they're starting to be revealed as the wicked that the Bible speaks of. That's another prophecy that shows you that we're that much closer as well. So I'm going to end out there, man. I pray that this lesson was edifying with that. Kwam Yasha Allah and the Bible Ball.